It's finally starting to feel like summer outside. Health experts see it as the perfect time to spread awareness about a disease that could threaten each and every one of us, especially in Minnesota.
Northern News Now's Cara Kopp talks to a Cloquet mom who knows the dangers of the sun all too well.
At 9 years old, Mary Lou Corderanta's son, Caden, loved playing outdoors like most kids. It was believed he was healthy and happy until doctors told him otherwise.
She's like testing his eyes and he couldn't see, nothing forward, just up and down.
Caden was referred to an eye specialist who provided a shocking diagnosis.
Cried a melanoma, 2 tumors size of a dime, 1/4 inch thick in his right eye.
The rare type of melanoma spread so much they had to remove his eye. Fortunately, the procedure worked, and now the 24-year-old is cancer-free.
Doesn't matter if you are 2 to 100, wear sunscreen and sunglasses.
You would think Minnesotans would be less likely to get forms of skin cancer like melanoma than, say, those in warmer states like California. However, we actually have one of the highest rates of skin cancer in the country. That's because when we head outside to enjoy the sun, like I am in Canal Park, we're less likely to take precautions.
It more has to do with the angle of the sun and what time of year. So even up here, we get those nice warm rays during the summertime.
Minnesotans love taking advantage of our limited warm days, doing things like hiking or fishing. However, Dr. Jones says because our warm season is shorter than most other states, Minnesotans are less likely to take important precautions like wearing sunscreen and sunglasses.
Over a lifetime, 1 in 5 people are affected by some type of skin cancer.
Which is why the Duluth Family Medicine Clinic is opening their doors to the entire community during Melanoma Monday, offering free, non-invasive screenings to everyone that shows.
Sometimes it's a mole you don't even know you have on the back.
Minnesotans like Mary Lou hoping people take advantage of the checkups so they stay safe in the sun.
Yes, get checked.
In Duluth, Cara Kopp, Northern News Now.
And the event is hosted at the Duluth Family Medicine Clinic from 9 a.m. to 4 p.m. next Monday. There are limited spots, but to sign up, you can visit our website.